in numbers too big to ignore, and I know too much to go back and pretend, 'cause I've heard it all before.
Hey, and welcome to what will be a very different Women in Real Estate success series today. And I'm actually really excited to mix it up because you can obviously see on the screen that Adrian is not a girl, but he is actually an incredible male. And I think that you're going to get so much value from, first of all, my conversation with Adrian. And then we've got something really special that I said to Adrian. Adrian's part of my networking group and professional group. And I said, I would just so love to share this with my amazing community within the real estate industry. And that's not, even though this video is for women in real estate, I think it's one that we really want to share with the boys as well, Adrian, because your work is so important in what you do. Now you do, so there's really two facets that we'll talk about, and I'll introduce you in a moment and you can talk about the work that you do at adrianhanks.com.au. And then I would love for you to share a little bit about the Blue Wren Foundation, which of course you're the founder and CEO of, and something that you're obviously very passionate about. So let's start off with Adrian Hanks. You've got a beautiful wife, Arlene, and a blended family of 6. And the age range now is 22 to 34.
Yeah, it is.
And you're an author, a coach, a counsellor, and a psychotherapist. And the work that you do, which is such important work, and why this message is so important, is that you're working with men to become better men. And I know that I saw on your website a little reference, and you talk about it in your Blue Wren video too. Tell us what was Michael that said in terms of his work with you. What was the expression he used about working with you?
Yes, so Michael was one of the participants in one of our very early programs back in 2016 in Melbourne. Sadly, Michael passed away last year. A beautiful man. But what he said while he was being interviewed in Melbourne, while he was on the Line in the Sand program, he said some beautiful words. He said, I know I am a good man, but I want to be a better man.
Yeah.
And I love that statement because in essence, we're all good people, but to be better than good, to be better than who I am now, that's the game. And this is the work we do with, the men and the women, but men in terms of the Blue Wren Foundation. We say, we know you're a good man. You may have a history, you may have a story, you may have done a few things that you wouldn't put in your resume, but in your soul, you know you're a good man. So let's work on that, but let's work on you being a better man.
Yeah. So let's just talk a little bit, before we talk about Blue Wren, let's talk a little bit about your work that you do with men, because there's probably, we have quite a wide audience. It could be someone who's got a partner or a friend that needs to have some support, or someone who could be in that situation as well. So just walk us through that, Adrian.
Yeah, so probably a little bit of history, a bit of background. So I did my psychotherapy and counselling training. Started 25 years ago. I started in Australia, and after my second year, I actually went to South Africa and lived in South Africa for nearly 2 years. And I repeated my second year of psychotherapy training and then did my third year in Africa. So I actually did 4 years for my advanced diploma. So quite well-rounded in the coaching and the counselling space and psychotherapy space, where I work on various topics, relationship work. So I do a lot of relationship coaching and psychotherapy work. Also, I do some addiction work, particularly with men around marijuana. That's sort of the biggest one. Cocaine as well, but marijuana seems to be the one in the Gold Coast and Northern Rivers. Also do empowerment work with men around men feeling anxious, depressed, looking at life purpose and where they're going. So a lot of my work is getting men and women, but men predominantly, to really get a sense of who they truly are and who they want to become. So I'm a great believer in, set your goals, set your mission and your vision, And then my role as the coach, as the psychotherapist, is to get people into that space where they want to become something different. So that's a lot working with the subconscious mind, because a lot of stories happening in the subconscious mind, and it's about changing those stories and changing habits into positivity.
Yeah, it's about what story you want to believe, isn't it?
Totally, always.
Yeah. So, Adrian, what you know the real estate industry, and I spoke to you last week, and talked to you a bit about the Rise Initiative, which I'm heading to Melbourne on Monday. They just do amazing work within our industry. There's got an app which is for the real estate industry called the Real Care app, which I'll post below here. So let's talk a little bit about our industry as real estate. And I don't know how much experience you've had working with anyone from real estate or not, but it's a very highly addictive industry. There is a lot of alcohol. There in some cases some drug abuse. In some cases, we've had many of our industry that have lost their lives. And of course, there's that demon, that depression, and it's something that really impacts our industry because it is so focused on achievement.
Yeah. And look, all areas of work, it doesn't matter what area of your work you're in, it's about a lifestyle to create. Just come off a session just now with a client, and we're creating is rhythm and routine.
Mm-hmm.
It's so important for the mind and the body to find some semblance of rhythm and routine in a healthy way. Burning the candle at both ends, making sure you stop and have your lunch and have a good healthy lunch, because in the real estate industry, as you know and I know, people skip their meals because they've got to see a client, or they're in a rush, or they've got to drive from A to B and they're running late, and they're running red lights, and they're doing all crazy rubbish because of that time of squeezing in, because chasing the dollar, a lot of it, because that's a big part of the industry. A lot of it, Julie, is really getting a sense of bringing oneself into alignment with rhythm and routine. Mm-hmm. So eating well, moving well, sleeping well, making sure you do get that sleep, getting that rest, even if you have a nano nap for 15 minutes in the afternoon to catch up a little bit on that tiredness. But mostly it's about what do we put in the fuel tank? What nutrition are we putting in to keep us healthy? Because if we're putting junk into the system,
it's like dirty petrol, isn't it?
Yeah, the body's continually trying to fight off the chemicals and all the things that are in the food. So I'm a great proponent for a good, healthy, organic food, because the less rubbish we put in our body, the less the body has to keep fighting it.
Yes, correct.
That takes a lot of energy.
And this is one question I ask every week when I catch up with my guests, and I say to them, which is why I'm so excited about this afternoon with you, is I say, what do you do to turn off, And it is, one of my go-to, when I'm working with clients, is go have a shower, put something like really comfy on. But we've got something even better for them, which we're going to go through in a moment. But let's talk about the Blue Wren Foundation, because it's really good work, something obviously you're really passionate about. So, tell us the story about how that all happened. Yeah.
So going back 30 years now, nearly 27 years, I started a men's group in Hobart in Tasmania, went for a couple of years running this men's group, and really started to get at a deeper understanding of the need for men to be together, to discuss, to work through their issues and talk about it and the challenges, and do some of that psychotherapeutic, deeper work around addictions, around communication, around feeling lonely and depression, all those things that men go through. So I did. And then, of course, my psychotherapy and counseling training lent into working with the men, because I was in that men's space. And then would have been 7 years ago, I met Rosie Batty in Brisbane when she was doing her book launch for her book. For some of you may know Rosie's story. Her son was killed by her estranged partner. Very, very sad story. And I was in tears reading the book. Took me just a few nights and days to read it. And then on completion of it, I gave it to my wife, Eileen, and I said, have a read. And I remember it was a Sunday night. It was about 9:30 at night. And I said to her, I feel like my men's work needs something more in terms of stopping the violence and conflict that's in relationship. I'm already doing relationship work, but I feel something new needs to happen. And she climbed out of bed. She walked around the side of the bed. I still get emotional when I think about this. And she said, Adrian, on behalf of myself and all women on the planet, I want to challenge you to go and do the work. Don't just talk about it, but go and do it. And I did. I made a commitment. And I went downstairs. And, many of you know what it's like when the mind starts on an idea, the pen and paper is there. And I was up, for hours and hours, writing all my ideas down that I'd been working with for 20 odd years. And I formulated this idea to start a new business, a new company, but I didn't have a name for it. And I was mulling over all these different names. And then about 2 days later, I was talking to a friend who's also a client at the time. He was in Bellingen, and we were doing a Skype call. Back then we were doing Skype. He had his computer and I had mine. And he said, Adrian, he said, just take a moment. He said, I'm being surrounded by blue wrens. So we stopped. Yeah. We were silent for 30 seconds, and these blue wrens were singing and chirping through the screen. And then my friend said, do you know the story, Adrian, about the male blue wren? He said, it's a very small bird, but it will fluff itself up on a branch in front of its whole flock, and it will protect them even against big scrub birds or blackbirds or minor birds. And I said, thank you. You've just given me the name for my foundation. It's iconically Australian. It's, everybody loves the blue wren. But that story of the small bird having that strength, because in this work for men to step in and really do this work, we have to show strength and vulnerability.
Yes.
And that blue wren for me just represented that. So I did. I started the organization, started a charity, got it all registered, got all the constitution, everything written. And then I put out a call for men to come forward to do the training. I put a 3-day training package together that, from my training experience. And 6 men stepped forward, and we spent 3 days together, and I trained them up of how I wanted the blue wren facilitators to work. And that was a magical moment. That was in 2016. And 4 of those men are still with me. And there's going to be some scope for some new training next year. But so what we do in that space, we offer something really unique. That's our signature program called the Line in the Sand program, specific for men. So it's 2 days workshop, and then we do 6 months of ongoing support for them online, where we check in with them and make sure that everything's going. But what we do in the 2-day component, the workshop, we have up to 24 men in the room with the 4 facilitators, and we give them a questionnaire with 100 questions on it throughout the weekend, and they get to self-evaluate where their own line in the sand is, physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, financially, verbally, and they get to tell themselves and tell the group where in the past or in the present, or perhaps where their fear is of doing it in the future, they may step over the line in the sand in relationship. Now, that could be very subtle. It could be just a swear word occasionally that's stepping over, or it may not be so subtle, and that's when it could lead into domestic violence. So a whole range, and the men decide what it is they want to work on. That's quite unique.
It is, isn't it? Because it puts the control for them, and they set the boundaries around that.
We then support them of what they've chosen. So we ask them after the 2 days to take away 3 things to work on, and we support them over a 6-month period to work on those 3 issues that they want to work on: physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, sexually, whatever it is, so they can bring more harmony into their relationship. So it's a very, very powerful, unique program. There are lots of other men's programs out there, behavioral change programs, but what we've developed is very different, very unique, because everything we do is about preventing that from happening. Yeah.
I'm going to put a link in there. So just tell us, so to find out more about the Blue Wren,
Yep.
where do you go to?
Yep.
www.bluewren.com.
TheBlueWrenFoundation.com.
thebluewrenfoundation.com.
Yep.
Okay, what I'm going to do today is going to put this video into 2 parts. So with this special treat that we've got coming up for everyone now, I am going to make that as a separate video. So rather than having to fast forward, they can keep this downloaded to their phone or whatever. And I'm going to have all the details about contacting you as well, Adrian, on this video. So part 1 has been awesome. My key takeaways from this is, number 1, your work is so important. Okay, we are living in a world that is so fast paced, where we have so much coming at us. Sometimes very challenging to be discerning about making good decisions. And I think with the work that you do, particularly with the Line in the Sand program, is you allow people to set their own boundaries rather than boundaries being imposed on them, right? And take some responsibility and choosing what behaviour is acceptable and what isn't. And I think that, the work that you do is so important. So I want to thank you for that. I'd love for everyone to reach out to the Blue Wren Foundation and support that. But I know you've got some things happening on the Gold Coast as well. You've got a function coming up. What date is that on?
Well, that's on Thursday, the 23rd of June at the Southport Yacht Club.
Yes.
And that's a relaunch and fundraising event in the evening, 5:30 to 10 o'clock. And individual tickets and table tickets available for that. Going to have music, entertainment, and auction. We're going to share something about where we're at. So it's going to be a really good, fun night. We've got some great guest speakers coming along. And that information's on the website.
That's great. I'm going to check out my diary. We've got a baby coming in imminently, so I'm not sure when that's going to happen. But I certainly hope that I can get along to that. So that's Thursday week, which is great. So I'm actually just going to
23rd of June.
23rd of June. I'll put that all in the link. Now we're going to just take a minute and prepare and come back with part 2.
Fantastic. Hi, my name's Adrian Hanks. I'm a good friend of Julie Davis, and she's asked me to share something with her real estate friends, colleagues and associates. And what I'd like to share with you is a body relaxation technique that can also be called a meditation. So before I begin, I'm going to play some didgeridoo for you, just to drop you into a nice zone. So what I'd ask you to do is just to close your eyes and have your feet maybe firmly on the floor, and just allow the sound of that didgeridoo to wash over you. And then when the didgeridoo is complete, I will then begin the body relaxation technique with you. So make sure you are in a comfortable space. Make sure your phone is on silent, and make sure you're not going to be disturbed for the next 10 minutes or so. So here's some didgeridoo for you to begin. Bringing yourself into awareness of my voice, and just become aware of your breathing, your in breath and your out breath. Just bringing that awareness yourself, just making sure your eyes are closed, nice and soft, nice and soft. Just tuning into that breathing, in breath and out breath. That's good. Now I'm going to ask you to bring your awareness down to your feet. Taking your awareness down to your feet. And I'm going to ask you to curl your toes, tension your ankles, tension your feet as tight as you can. Curl those toes, bring tension into the feet. And just for a few moments, just hold that tension. Holding, holding, holding. Just holding and breathing. And then just very slowly releasing and letting go. Releasing and letting go. That's good. And just becoming aware of your breathing. Nice and steady. In breath and out breath. I'd like you to bring awareness to your calves, your knees, your thighs and your buttocks. And I'd just like you to tense them all up as tight as you can. Squeezing in, and holding the tension. Squeezing your buttocks, squeezing your thighs, squeezing your calves. Nice and tight. That's good. And holding, holding, holding the tension. And then very slowly releasing and letting go. Slowly, slowly, slowly letting go. That's good. And just staying aware of your breathing. In breath and out breath. And like you bring your awareness to your back and your shoulders and your neck. I'd like you to tense them all up. And what I'd like you to do is to take your shoulders up towards your ears and bring your ears down towards your shoulders. So it's nice and tight. Pushing upwards and downwards. Ears to shoulders. Shoulders to ears. Tightening and tensing. Tightening and tensing. And holding that tension. Holding the tension. That's good. Holding, holding. And just very slowly letting the shoulders drop. Slowly, slowly, slowly. Slowly, slowly. And just letting your arms drop by your sides. And just become aware of your breathing. Now I'd like you to become aware of your hands, your fingers, your thumbs, your wrists, your elbows, and your muscles in the top of your arms. I'd like you to tense them all up. Tight, tight, tight and tense. Screwing up your hands into fists. Pushing your thumbs and fingers in tight into your hands. Tensing the muscles in your arms. And holding that tension. Squeezing and holding. Holding and holding. Tightening those fists. That's good. And then very, very, very slowly letting the fingers unfurl, letting the hands unfurl, letting your arms relax, letting them hang by your side. You may feel some tingling in your hands and your arms. That's good. That's good. Just allow that tingling to occur. Let that flow in your body occur. And just bring yourself back to your breathing. In breath and out breath. I would like you to bring your awareness to your face or your face muscles, your lips, your cheeks, your eyes, your forehead. And because you're all alone, you can do this. I'd like you to screw your face up as tight as you can. Your eyes, your forehead, your lips, your cheeks. Tight, 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 tight. Tight, tight. Clenching and holding. Clenching and holding. Holding the tension. And just very slowly letting go, letting go, letting go. Relaxing and letting the jaw drop. Letting the eyes soften. Just bring yourself back to your breathing. I'd like you to focus on your whole body now, from your toes to your nose to your forehead. And allow yourself to relax. Softening every muscle in your body. That's good. Nice, soft, gentle breaths. Beautiful, that's good. Just staying in that feeling for a moment. Feeling of relaxation, calm. And when you're ready, just slowly moving your fingers and your toes, moving your arms, becoming more aware of my voice, slowly opening your eyes. So that's a beautiful technique, the body relaxation technique. And you can do that in 3 or 4 minutes or 10 minutes or even longer if you choose to. But it's a beautiful technique, particularly if you're new to meditation, new to relaxation. You can take this anywhere, you can do this anywhere. You can sit in a chair in the home, in the office, in your car, between clients, between homes, when you're doing your real estate work, just to bring yourself into alignment, just to calm your mind, calm your body. So thank you very much for sharing that with me. And if you'd like to make connection with me, you can do on www.adrianhanks.com. Thank you. Namaste.